Ooby-doo, it's everyone's favorite boomer and vintage lens enthusiast. Today we're going to look at the TOKINA AT-X 28 to 85 millimeter 3.5 to 4.5. This is an old school manual lens and a Nikon F mount. I guess it's AI or AIS because it has this tab. It's two-touch, right? It's 28 to 85. This thing also has it's close focusing. It's at the 85 end, and you can use that to tune it in. You can get pretty close. It gives excellent results. 3.5. Notice that's a half f-stop. So if I go there, that's a full f-stop. No, there's a half f-stop. Now this is where it gets dicey. Because this is in constant aperture, 3.5 to 4.5, notice that 85 is in orange, right? So that means that orange line. So that means you could stop down to past f22 with it. So that's f22, 16. You gotta go by that line. Now there's this line, which is this lime yellow sort of color, and then you gotta go by that line, 3.5. You can only get to 2.6. So that's annoying when you're zooming and your exposure changes. Now, and this is on the Nikon Z50, which is a pretty cool camera. And what it does is, since I have it in this mode, I could say I leave it on f8, right? As I zoom and the aperture changes, it just picks another shutter speed for me, which is really cool. I don't like it because I like to stay at f8. I don't want to go f8 to f11 or f8 to f5.6, depending on what I'm doing. But, you know, you have to. So I paid $50 for this. It's an excellent plus condition. Look brand new. The optics are perfectly clean. It is super sharp. This is a really fantastic lens. I ran it through paces at the park, the Bailiwick of Bevferwick, and it's fantastic. Fantastic lens. But I just want to make a side note here. Previously, a year or so ago, I bought this lens. Nikon AFS, AF stands for autofocus, Nikon 24 to 85. So it's a little wider, but it's the 3.5 to 4.5 G. ED means special glass, G means gelded. It doesn't have a aperture ring, it's all controlled by the camera. Lucky for me, this is actually a F lens. It wasn't made for the Z mount, so I have to use the FTZ adapter. And this thing autofocuses because it has all these contacts. It has a built-in motor. It doesn't have the, on the old school Nikon autofocus, there's like a spot where it looks like a little screwdriver pops out, engages the drive screw here, and then it moves it. So if you were to buy those type of autofocus lenses, you could put them on a Z mount with an adapter, but you lose the autofocus. Now, if it has these contacts, then when you turn the focusing ring, even if you lose the focus, you still get the focus capture confirmation in the viewfinder. There's a red square with a dot, and it turns green when you're in focus. But this thing actually works with the autofocus. And what's the story behind that? It seemed to be a little bit off, which sort of upset me greatly. So luckily this camera has a tune autofocus in the menu where you can make plus, let's say plus or minus 20. So I did some experience in my bedroom, focusing on a lamp from about 10 feet away, got it perfect. I went to Bailiwick of Bevferwick, and then the damn thing wasn't focusing right. So it made me upset. So what you got to do is you got to go out in the field, adjust it out in the field, and then you'll get decent results. But it always seemed just to miss the autofocus a little bit. Even stopped down at f8, 11, and 16. Well, definitely, I've noticed that most lenses that start at 24 and go to something, the 24 is always a little bit soft. I've seen it so many times. But if you go to like where 28 is, you get pretty decent results. This one is only 85 to 28, and it's good throughout the whole zoom range. Oh, there's enough of that. Oh, here's another thing. I bought it in excellent condition, and it's got a bunch of dust in between the front element and the second element, which sort of miffed me. Although the optics look clean and there's no haze or fog in it, it's got this dust. What does that mean? I don't know. And it's made out of plastic, and this gold lettering got a little bit scruffy. But that's neither here nor there. Oh, no IS on this. No image stabilization. Nope. They have a newer one. You know what? This is about the same weight as this one. This one might be a little bit lighter, but let's put this over here. It's not a bad lens, but I'm thinking of getting rid of it. This is a fantastic lens. Super duper sharp. Excellent from near to far, even in macro. F8, 5.6, 3.5, anything. It's just sharp. Super sharp. I pointed almost directly at the sun and I got one blue glare ball. But that was only under extreme circumstances and wide angle. As soon as I zoomed up a little bit, the glare ball went away. So it's an excellent lens. They're dirt cheap. If you don't mind autofocus, manual focusing, this has a 10x line zoom, live zoom, and I'm used to it with my other vintage lenses, so I wail away on it. You nail the focus in this, you're going to get fantastic pictures. You're going to see that in the slideshow following. This is a fantastic lens. You know, you shop around, you get them cheap. I always go to KEH in Smyrna, Georgia, where I got this. I think I paid like a $125 for this. I'm a little disappointed. But I paid $50 for this, and I'm so pleased. I live next to this park. It's a 10-minute drive. It's 1,000 acres. You could walk around. Oh, here's the Dragon's Tooth. And you could walk around a big lake, and there's all trails off the lake. You could circumnavigate the lake. You could take a boat and go in the lake. And it's just a really pleasant, nice place. This is a pretty big lake, you know. I've seen, you can have 50 boats in that lake and never see any of them, really. This is the TOKINA AT-X 2885, 3.5 to 4.5. It's a fine optic. Old school, all metal. It does have rubber bands on the focusing and zoom ring, but that's it. And it's just super sharp. If you're using like a 10x live view magnification in a mirrorless camera, you nail the focus, it comes out beautiful. The Nikon Z50 has this thing called dynamic range optimization, which I put on, and then it seems like I have to reduce the brightness a little bit and maybe increase the contrast somewhat, and then it comes out really, really good. Of course, it's 28 millimeters is still, what's half of 28 is 14, 28 and 14, that's 42 millimeters. So it's like a slightly wide normal lens. And 85 millimeters was half of 85 is 42, so that'd be like 127 millimeter from APS to full frame. And I go to the park. I like to get there early. I like to go when it's cold out because the bugs don't bother you too much. There never used to be bugs there, but now there seems to be bugs all over, and they got my number. Whatever phenonomes I put out, or they zoom in on it and they attack me. So here's you know, slightly past the middle of April, and that's it. I ain't going to this park anymore. Well, people walk their dogs there. They bring bugs from everywhere else, or horses. And I'm sure the place got, you know, introduced with bugs. Because 20 and 30 years ago, there weren't many bugs there. It was a nice place to go all around. And now it's, oh, and that's another thing. There's rocks and blocks all over. Wherever you go look, there's rocks and blocks. Sometimes they're in a big jumbled up pile, and it looks pretty flipped out. Sometimes they're spread all over. And what it was is there used to be these taller hills, and I guess over the aeons, they all split and fell apart and, you know, got wore down. This head sort of reminds me of Zardoz head, if you ever saw that movie, that rock. A little bit, if you can imagine. So these trees, when they cast a shadow, they tell you, well, what the slope of this hill is. It's sort of shallow, it turns up, and then, you know, it peaks at the top, which is pretty flipped out. And all over, it's like this, where they have these bare ridge tops with boulders all over, and they're all cracked and split. So, you know, sort of the middle of April, and the trees are just starting to bloom. We had sort of a harsh winter. It was harsh. That tree on the right there looks like an alien in disguise from another planet. And pretty soon, this swamp, this reed bed here, will be sprouting all new stuff. This is old stuff from last year. Here's a perfect example of the sharpness. At 10x live view magnification, you can see it just snap right in. It's amazing. Excellent optic. TOKINA AT-X 28 to 85 millimeter. And a Nikon F mount, but you could get them in a Canon, probably FD mount, Pentax K mount, maybe M42 even. Excellent lens. And they're cheap. I got an excellent plus example for 50 bucks. I say it over and over again, but wow. Compared to like the Nikon 24 to 85G lens, oh my God, it's excellent in its mediocrity, whereas this thing is just excellent. From close to far, from wide to tele, it just performs really well. And here's a pile of blocks, right? I had those blocks get there. Were they placed there by people? The glacier came down 20,000 years ago? I don't know. I don't know what to say. And sometimes the river is gurgling and burgling and all white water. Another time it gets reduced to a trickle depending. Oh, there's a flare ball. Look at that. The only flare ball. As soon as I zoomed up a little bit, it went away. It just does a good job. You should get one. I'm glad I got it. There's some lenses like I thought were going to be good. Nikon went downhill, really. Their old stuff was much better, and their new plastically stuff, I guess they outsourced it all. And here's the stone wall that the ancient astronauts built, or maybe it was Bigfoot built them. But you can see there's a lot of detail. It's really well defined. It's sharp. Oh, here's some macro shots. The macro is at the 85 millimeter end, and it just does a really good job. I like it. There's some flowering trees in my front yard, and I just snapped some pictures up, and I gotta sing the praises of this lens. It's you should really find one and get one. And I mean, look that's well, that's a 1:1 crop, but still, it's held together amazingly. That's an ornamental cherry tree. Here's a periwinkle, which is a herb, and it makes these delicate indigo flowers. Now, there's some waterfalls coming up, so you may want to start turning your audio down a little bit. It says thundering cataracts, so what could I do? What could I say?